My name is Katelyn Serrano Hip. I'm a sophomore at East Central High School, and I will be presenting my graphic design redesign project. So for my business, I wanted to choose something I was familiar with, from the food down to the culture, and I chose Tienda Centroamérica. Whenever I go here on the weekends with my parents to eat, I always notice their old logo still on their billboard, and it always bothered me because it was always hard to read. But recently they had a redesign, and this is their new logo, and it's now plastered on their store. Tienda Centroamérica is a store and a restaurant mixed, combined. So I wanted to do a design that represented both of them. These are pictures of their menus from their reviews, and as you can see, some of their design is still tacky, which also bothered me. Here are potential logos that I made. This was the first one, which is similar to the original, but in a different font. And in the old logo, I can see that instead of an O, they used like a yellow dot with a swirl, which is like typography, which is where you use a symbol to represent a letter. So to do that, I use a sun. I also use the sun because after doing research on Central America, I noticed that in history, they have origins to the Mayas. The Mayas believed in sun gods, and so I used the sun to represent that. It was good, but it wasn't my favorite, so I made this second design. The second design, it was inspired over flag designs from countries in Central America. And most of them had blue and white, so I decided to apply that to their logo. I also added the continent in the back so their target audience, which is people from Central America, would see something familiar. But it was hard to read and I didn't really like it, so I made this third one. This third one, after doing research on their art and culture, I noticed that a lot of their colors are very vibrant and they use a lot of animals in their art. So I decided to add feathers with vibrant colors. This ended up being my favorite, and it ended up being my logo that I used. These are the finishing touches that I applied. So after asking for feedback, a lot of people told me it was hard to read and the feathers didn't make any sense. My dad, who's from Central America, advised me to add palm trees so it would give it more of a tropical look. And I applied them and I changed the font to make it easier to read. I redesigned it again because I felt like the palm trees made it look like it was more of a coastal restaurant than a tropical restaurant. So instead of taking all the palm trees, I just took one and added a red macaw. Red macaws are native to Central America, and I feel like it would be more familiar to the target audience. I also changed the font to make it easier to read, and I changed the sun to match some of the art from Central America. It ended up being my final design. This is the logo. This is the font that I use. It looks hard to read, but if you add the outline effect from Canva, it makes it easier. This is the color palette that I use. As you can see, it's vibrant colors, so it makes it pop to the human eye. For my social media posts, I made sure to add the caption in Spanish so their target audience would understand because they're mostly Spanish-based speakers. The caption translates to "so small, so big, but not so different," introducing our new look, based on Central American art and culture. The hashtags that I use are Central America, restaurant, and new look, so I can capture our target audience. The background is pictures of their culture, animal, land, food, so their target audience would recognize those photos and immediately go towards it. I added a white background, a white square, so you could see the logo more. It will pop. This is my magazine advertisement. I added, after reading their website, I noticed that they said a bunch of things that they sold, so I wanted to include that to the magazine so people would read it and know what they sell and also make for food. I added a discount at the bottom that says rip this page and take it to one of our locations to get a 10% off your next purchase or 15% off your next meal. So people would know that they sell and they also sell food. So they would bring our magazine page to our restaurants and show us that our magazines are actually working. I made sure to highlight the location on San Antonio with green flags. And I added a design in the corner so it'd be more like an art walk where you would see an art piece and immediately go towards it and want to read what's in this page. The softwares and tools that I use are Canva and Adobe Illustrator. On Canva, I use elements, text, and photos to make my design. And on Adobe Illustrator, I make sure to use the curvature tool, the pen tool, and the ellipse tools to make this design and my logo. Acknowledgements to the owners, the Martinez, which are the owners of Central America, of Tienda Centroamérica, and my graphic design class at East Central High School. Thank you for your time.